Hello everyone. So in this video lecture, I am going to talk about the major areas of a quality control system. So you can say, what is the goal of quality control system? To finally produce a safe food for the consumer. So these are the areas where we need to focus to ensure that our final food is safe. So let's talk about the areas. One is organization of a quality control system. So what does it mean? So it's actually a management system of an industry through which sanitation and other quality controlling functions are handled. Basically, by this organization of quality control, we mean that it's the management system of the industry. Okay, and the quality control is basically considered by the raw materials control, the process control, finished product control. So whenever we talk about this one, that what are the part of the quality control systems, or so basically there are three part actually. We have to we have to apply our quality control procedures for the raw materials, during the processing of those raw materials, and finally for the finished products. Okay, and what is the main goal of this one? The main goal of applying quality control measures to manufacture quality and safe foods in a efficient and effective way. So if you want to manufacture quality and safe foods in an efficient and effective way, so the organization of the quality control system also need to be efficient and effective. Okay, so in addition to achieve this, an efficient and effective system, it's also necessary that the plant design and the operation procedure, they are also very efficient. Okay, so which means the plant design and operation procedures also have a great role in preparation of safe and quality foods for the consumer. Okay, so then another area, sanitation and inspection programs. We all know what is sanitation, right? We know why we do sanitation. Basically, in general, we know that sanitation means to use some cleaning agents to kill kill microorganisms or darts or dust. Okay, so actually also in a food processing plant or the food processing system, proper sanitation and inspection programs should be implicated, okay, or should be applied throughout the procedure. Throughout the procedure means during food processing, during transportation, and also operation. Okay, and if we fail to maintain a proper sanitation program, basically it will be a disaster, because if we fail to maintain sanitation, so it if we fail to maintain a proper sanitation program, then our final product, actually their quality can get degraded, right? So suppose things a scenario. Why we do sanitation? To kill, like for example, one example is to kill all the microorganisms. So if we fail to use the proper sanitation program, that means we will fail to kill all the threat, that can come from the microorganisms. So that means our food can get contaminated and our final food quality can get degraded. Okay, so if this happens, we will lose the confidence or faith of our customers, right? So what the customer will say, okay, this company don't have any consistency. Okay, sometimes they supply good food, sometimes they supply bad food. Okay, so we will lose the confidence of our uh, customers. In addition, okay, we can fall into some law related issue, you know so basically, like if the quality of the food is bad or under expected quality, the authority, the regulatory agencies, also the consumers group, they basically can brag the company into the legal actions, and all these things may cause economic penalties for the food processing plant. Okay, so now if we want to achieve a successful sanitation and inspection program, it is necessary to understand the appropriate type and method of application of sanitizer. We do sanitation by sanitizer. Okay. In addition, personal hygiene and commitment is also important in preparation of safe food. So you have a proper guideline. I mean, you understand the sanitation program. You have very good sanitizer. Okay, the regulations are, the guidelines are good. But if the personnel who have to do this sanitation, if they lack personal hygiene, and if they lack commitment, okay, I mean that means if they don't work properly, basically you cannot uh, implement a proper sanitation program, right? Okay. So another area of quality control system is control of the environment. Okay, the environment actually is can act as a big source of contamination, such as for example the water supply and the air. In a food processing plant, your food can get contaminated through this, the water and the air. So it is important to control this. So that means it is important to take the measures or procedures by which you can supply the pure waters, and also you can purify the air so that no contamination can come from the water or air, and also the environment to the food. Okay. Now it is necessary to understand the sources of food hazards and the methods of prevention of these hazards during processing and handling of these foods. Right? Actually, it is important that because all the environmental things. Suppose what I want to say, that the water or air, they don't have same type of hazards. Right? Water has one type of hazards, the soil can have one type of hazards, the air can have one type of hazards. So we need to understand which environmental source poses which type of hazard. So if we can understand that, then we can implement or apply appropriate procedures, appropriate controlling procedures. Okay. And also, the waste management of food industry also has a great role in reduction of environmental pollution. I mean, you are applying a very good system inside your food industry. You are producing very safe food, and then you are just discharging your waste in the environment. No, this is not good, right? In that case, the environment, the outer environment will get polluted. Okay, so uh, we cannot do that. So there should be a proper waste management systems and protocol. Okay. Okay. Another area of quality control system: control of raw materials and other ingredients. You know, the quality of food actually depends on the quality of raw materials, right? So if the quality of raw materials is itself bad, is contaminated with various hazards, then the final product will be also bad. Okay, the final product will not meet the quality standards that you expected. So it is important to apply quality control procedures or measures to the raw material. Okay, the raw material, they should meet certain expectation. I mean the expectation that you need. That means certain expected quality standard, specification, and we also need to do inspection of the raw materials. Okay, and also it's important to understand the appropriate preservation methods of the raw materials for food processing. It's actually very important, right? Say you have an industry and you are collecting good quality raw materials which meets the expected standard, which has the expected specification, and you also expected that the quality of this raw material is good. But then you need to store this raw material until you start using them. So during this process, this storing process, the quality can get degraded. Quality of the raw material can get degraded. Right? How you can prevent this? by using appropriate preservative or appropriate preservation methods. So it is very important to understand the appropriate preservative methods for your particular raw materials. Okay. So then another area of the quality control system, the packaging materials. Okay. So packaging, please remember this, packaging materials are not an integral part of the food. I mean, we don't eat the package, right? We only eat the food. So packaging materials are not an integral part of the food, but yet they are very important to ensure the good quality of the food. Why? Because the packaging materials, they can influence the flavor, texture, color, and wholesomeness of that particular food. Okay, so we need to understand what type of packaging we should use for what type of food to keep it safe for longer time. Okay, and for safety of foods from contamination, and also, I mean, not only this one, I mean, it's true that our food can get I mean, the flavor, texture, and color or wholesomeness of the food can get affected by the packaging materials. That is, I mean, these are not the only thing. We also have to think that packaging has some other benefit too. I mean, packaging serves some other purposes too. I mean, after producing your food, you packaged it. Okay, then we need to transfer it, right? We need to transfer it in various places. We need to store it. Okay, so the package should be like that. So during these procedures, the handling, transporting, and storage, the food will be good. The quality of the food will not be hampered. Package should be like that. Okay. So then another area, safe storage and transporting of foods. It is important to understand that what particular, I mean, which food need which kind of storage system and which kind of transporting system, right? Otherwise, the quality of the food will get degraded. That means we need to understand the appropriate conditions for storage and transporting of the food. Well, say, for example, say the milk factory, okay, the milk industry which process the milk by, say, pasteurization. So you know, the pasteurized milk, they actually need to be kept in cold temperature, at least around 4 degrees Celsius. So if you fail to keep it at around 4 degrees Celsius, the quality of the food will get degraded. I mean, the quality of the milk will get degraded. You all know that, right? Suppose another example, say biscuit. Okay, you produce biscuit in your factory. So basically, you don't need to keep it at 4 degrees Celsius, right? You just can transport it in room temperature. Okay, and also for some food, you just can't. I mean, keep it in room temperature using some preservative. Okay, so we need to understand these conditions. Okay, and finally, okay, so we are done with the major areas of quality control system. Now I'll talk about the quality assurance. Actually, what is the quality assurance? I mean, we frequently have these terms: quality control, QC, and quality assurance, QA. Many of us think these are the same things, but actually these are not same things. Like QC and QA actually are different. So, what is the QC? I mean, QC deals with all the procedures which need to be implemented to ensure that our final food product is safe for the consumer. Okay, so now say you have an industry and you have applied or follow all the procedures mentioned in your quality control guidelines. So you can say that, okay, I have followed all the guidelines, all the procedures of quality control systems, but does it ensure that your food is safe? No. So how you can say that your product is safe? By testing it. Okay. What was the goal of quality control system? To ensure that my final food product is free from all kind of hazards, or have the minimum hazard which is which is accepted. I mean, my final product is free from biological hazard, chemical hazard, mechanical hazard, etc. Okay, so how you can see that? Say that by testing. So after your product has been produced, check your product and test them. Test with various methods. So various methods to ensure that your product don't have those hazards. Okay, so this is actually QC, quality assurance. You are assuring that your product is free from the hazard. So I just say, so I mean, to assure you the quality of your food, you need to do various tests. So can you just test whatever you want? No, there should be some guidelines. There should be some methods. Okay, so usually there are various organizations. Some are national organizations and some are international organizations who have the guidelines. Okay, I mean, and in those guidelines, these are actually written that for what kind of food, what kind of testing you need to do, and what should be the expected result of those testing. Okay, so you have to actually follow those guidelines. There are lots of national and international organization who, I mean, set these guidelines, which are sometimes called the regulatory standards. For example, in case of Bangladesh, the national authorities left, like for example, the BSTN. Okay, it's the national organization, and if I want to give an example of international organization, say ISO. We all the name of this one, ISO. We frequently see this ISO standard, ISO standard. And then FDA. FDA is for the US market. So okay, so and okay, so these are the international organizations who set the regulatory standards which need to be followed in the to achieve the successful quality assurance. Okay, and also actually this there are some other international guidelines also, and one famous one is the HACCP, HACCP, Hazards Analysis Critical Control Point. Basically, this HACCP system, they have the guideline in details that what you need to do in what step from the beginning to the end. I mean, how you have to handle the raw materials, how you have to handle the processing, how you have to handle the finished product. Okay, so finally, food laws and regulations. These are very important, food laws and regulations. Why? Because some laws and regulations are required to eliminate the unfair competition. We were talking about industry. Okay, in industry, it's a competitive field. Okay, and sometimes the competition can be unhealthy. Okay, unfair. So there should be some laws and regulations to eliminate the unfair competition. Okay, so for example, I'll give you one example. So for example, a Bangladeshi company, they produce a food. Okay, so suppose they produce this food. Okay, this is not a food. This is cell phone. So they produce this food, and somehow the cost is high. I mean, if you import this food, that food will be, the price of the food will be lower. I mean, the price of the imported food will be lower. But your own produced food can be costly. So in that case, actually, government can set some rules to protect your product, because you protect your own produced product, right? And I mean, it's actually important, because if you cannot protect your own product, you can lose employment, right? Okay, so this is one purpose of some laws and food regulations to eliminate the unfair competition. And also the basic purpose of food laws and regulatory agencies is to ensure that all foods reaching the consumers are safe, wholesome, truthfully labeled. Okay, this is actually the main purpose of food laws and regulatory agencies, that the food we are consuming is safe, wholesome, and truthful label. Right? Suppose, say for example, you make a drink and you claim that your drink makes people smarter. Okay, your people help people to increase their IQ, intelligence. So you are writing this in the label, but in reality it's not true. So if there is no laws and regulations, you will write anything. Okay? And in this way you can deceive the people. So this is not right. This is illegal. So there should be some laws that you cannot write whatever you want. Okay, you have to write the true thing in the label. Okay. Okay, and actually for food laws and regulations, there are several government agencies who are involved in the enforcement of laws and regulations that affect the food industry directly or indirectly. Okay, so you have the laws and the regulations. You also should have the agencies who will make sure that the laws and regulations are followed properly. Okay, and finally, several laboratory tests are necessary for determining the quality and safety of the foods. I actually already talked about this one, right, in the previous slide, in the quality assurance slide. So that's all for today. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.